Selecting your right mortgage loan officer.
But first, let's hit it! Hi, this is Alan Victoria. Welcome to our channel and podcast.
And if this is your first time in our podcast and YouTube channel, please subscribe and get notified.
We get calls and texts all the time at 252-327-3357. So don't be shy. We absolutely love talking to you. We are real estate agents, and today we're going to talk about selecting the right loan officer for you, your mortgage officer. In many steps, we have our preferred people that we like to work with, but we will work with anybody because you pick your loan officer. We do not pick your loan officer. So that is kind of one of the things. We're going to give you some tips on how to pick.
Exactly. We know the first step actually of buying a home really is deciding what we can afford.
Right, and there are so many people who think they can't afford it because they've never actually talked to a mortgage officer, so they don't know their budget, they don't know how to set a budget. And before you even start really with us, you have already started looking at your or if you haven't started and you meet with us, we're going to tell you to start talking to these loan officers because they help you with the home buying journey, because you have to figure out the financial health of you and the financial health of what you can afford. So there are so many of us.
Yes, exactly. That we wanted to cover some important tips and also bonus tips to help you to facilitate basically finding your right lender for you.
And I want to say, we get so many people who say, oh, I don't think I qualify for a house because I don't think my credit is as good as it should be. The best thing you can do is talk to a loan officer who's going to put you tell you what you need to do. Maybe it's going to be a couple tips on what you can do, and then stick to that when you're going to actually apply. So you want to make sure, even if you think, oh, I don't qualify, it's better to get professional opinion, because sometimes we are not the best. For instance, when I was in my early 20s and I had my high student loans and I was thinking I'm stuck, and I had this mental block that I was stuck. So I didn't believe that I could ever get a house, which wasn't true. Maybe it was when I was 22 and just, figuring out life, but it wasn't as untrue as I believed, but I had a negative self-belief that I got over. So a lot of people have these negative self-beliefs like I did, to where you think your credit isn't good enough because of something that happened years ago. And so don't be shy. Talk to a loan officer. That's their job. And that's what I think. Let's go into those 5 tips that we would give.
Yes, the first tips that we wanted to talk, as we know, is the honesty and transparency.
Yes. You want to make sure that you are sharing with your broker some financial information, and if your credit is low or you have some issues that you need to work through, you want to be someone who is going to be honest with you about what you can do to fix it. Because if you do not think, if this person's a fly-by-night kind of guy who just wants to do the fast deals and not talk to you about what thing, and they don't seem honest or transparent in how they act, this is someone you should walk away from, because if they're not honest and transparent and you feel that, walk away.
Exactly. Therefore, if you have any high debt or basically foreclosure, bankruptcy, or anything that you're going to put you in danger, definitely you need to talk to your lender. And that's what we wanted, the lender actually to be honest and transparent for us. And if in the case we cannot afford a mortgage, it tells us straightforward that I think with your condition we need to work on and you are not qualified at the moment.
Okay, second thing we need to ask is for upfront questions. It is common to become fixated on the maximum that you qualify for, but that's not necessarily what you want to spend. You want to look at that monthly payment. And remember, every house is going to be slightly different because of the property taxes or the HOAs or the utilities in that area. And you want to kind of find out what those fees are. So asking the right questions is just as helpful, so you get the answers. You are getting that monthly payment that you are going to see. So everybody's on the same page.
Yes. And number 3, basically select the one lender that you communicate well with them.
Right. Make sure that it's someone who stays in communication with you. It's not just someone, and they stay in communication with you the entire process. Some people are going to run for the hills before finalizing the paperwork, and these are not good people to work with. You want to make sure that they are sticking around from beginning to end, so if something does happen during the actual closing process, you're okay.
Yes. And find somebody, number 4, that is stick with all the deadlines, which is
Absolutely.
super important in the home buying transaction.
Right. You typically in North Carolina, you got 30 days to close, and these dates and staying on top of everything is going to be so important because you want to make sure that this person is on task and
Yes.
making sure we don't miss
Like
something.
he pretty much do the appraisal for you and send everything for the underwriters and all the fun stuff that need to be done in the process of your loan, and everything to be on the spot, not after the deadline.
Number 5.
Number 5, make sure that what kind of services and loans he offers, and basically how many lenders or bank working with this lender that you are talking to.
Right. So it depends. Now, if you're super comfortable with your bank and you love your bank, whatever bank it might be, and that's who you feel comfortable with because you feel qualified there, that's great. Stick with that. We're not telling you not to. And then there are only 4 main types of loans: conventional, FHA, VA, and USDA, right? At least in our area, those are the 4 major types. There are other types out there like bank statement loans and all of these other like non-QM loans, which sounds like hard and fancy, but make sure that your lender is going to give you a lot of alternatives that you might focus on. So you want to focus on lots of different options, and not just, if you can and you're worried, work with someone who has more than one option for the financial institution. Some big lenders don't work with big lenders at all, but if you want to ask your loan officer how big their pool is, how many options do they have for you as a home buyer? Because if you're trying to shop for a rate, you don't want to go to the same places twice. So you want to make sure that they have a big pool, so therefore they can shop for the best rate possible for you. What's your bonus tip?
The bonus tip is also you wanted the lender that be mindful of everything, especially the closing costs upfront with you. Therefore, when you're shopping for the mortgage, make sure that looking at the rate with your lenders and make sure how much your closing cost really is. No?
Yes, you want to know what that is before you even make the offer, to be honest. Because if the lender is going to give you different numbers every single time we make an offer, we are all on the same page, and that's really the best. And after hearing those interest rates, you might think yourself in a good place and not worry about it, but you want to make sure that you are kind of on the same track every single time. And what?
Yeah, and then you need to basically identify that how much is going to be your monthly payment, at least with your lender, that what you're looking for. Because to be honest, the lender doesn't know your habit, how much you spend on basically your eating or
your lifestyle. Maybe you eat out every single day.
Exactly.
Maybe you go on your boat every single day. Maybe you have to hit the road once a month because it just makes you feel free. Maybe you are a cruiser and that's your thing, and you love cruising once a month and you go on a cruise. That kind of sounds nice, all you can eat food. But anyway, maybe that's your actual lifestyle to where you do it all the time, which means that has to be factored into your rates. Even though you're not thinking debt to income ratio, how much can you afford? That's going to have to be something you consider, because they're looking at a certain percentage, but you also have to think of your monthly payment that you want and try to stick with that.
Exactly. We are not talking about affordability. Maybe you afford 400,000 loan, good
Maybe
for
million.
you, or million. But you don't want to stick with the budget that, because you have all this thing going on in your life and you don't want it to spend for more than certain money.
Right. So make sure that it fits what you want in your lifestyle and how much you're willing to pay monthly. So we can't wait to help shop with you. We can't wait to meet you in person. That's even better, right?
And
to show you home.
thank you for being on our podcast and our YouTube channel. See you in the next video on podcast.